Jon Jones. Oh my goodness. I think I had forgot. I think that I had forgot a little bit what it's like when Jon is around. And one thing, when you're dealing with a clinical narcissist, there is an upside, right? Consistency. They'll be very consistent. Jon Jones is coming out, and he is going to do 2 fights. He has promised the fans. As a matter of fact, he has promised the fans he's going to give them 2 fights. He's going to fight Surreal. That's not the fight that he wants. He wanted to fight Ngannou, or Stipe for that matter, first, and then go into the other one. So Ngannou, Stipe, Ngannou, but those were his 2 guys. He didn't want a whole lot to do with Surreal, and now he's got Surreal. Once he gets done with Surreal, he's going to go in to Stipe. Those are the only 2 fights he can promise, and once those are done, we're going to sit down and we're going to see what makes sense. I'm quoting right now. Okay. Well, could we do something? Could we do something as friends? Can we put makes sense aside? Can we not do that anymore as a vernacular? Can we agree that the Ultimate Fighting Championship is ran by pretty reasonable people? Can we agree that their fiduciary objective and a 25-year history says they do what makes sense? Can we agree on that? Can we also agree there has never been a fighter or a fighter's manager or a fighter's team or a fighter's goddamn mother, for that matter, that has ever had a better idea than the one that the boys on the 2nd floor at the Ultimate Fighting Championships, located in Nevada, have put forth? Can we agree on that? So we don't need to hear from anybody what makes sense. We will get a phone call and told what makes sense. So we're crystal clear. Surreal Gone, who is 1-1 in his last 2, got out wrestled and won by a non-wrestler and got out struck by a non-striker. Okay, that is fighting for world championship. So don't tell me about things that make sense. Jon just signed an 8-fight deal. That was revealed to us 48 hours ago. He signed an 8-fight deal and has come out and let us know he's going to do 2 of those fights. I promise. I promise. I got Surreal in March. I got Stipe barking at me in summertime. Some bitch, my entire 2023 isn't even booked. It isn't even full. I am going to be a problem for you within this calendar year. Now, why not just say, I signed to fight 8 guys, I'm going to go fight 8 guys. I'm going to destroy them. Surreal isn't even the guy that I wanted. Surreal isn't even the guy that I planned for. I planned to beat the guy that beat Surreal. I don't know I'd ever get to Surreal. I didn't ever know I was going to get a warm-up fight. Then I'm going to do that. I'm going to parlay that right into a fireman from Ohio, who's the only top contender in this sport that's older than me. And any other dinosaurs that are pushing 40 can come into my new geriatric division. And nobody is going to stop me. Okay. I'll go with that. I would go with that. I don't understand doing an 8-fight deal and then promising people 2 fights. I don't understand fighting a guy that you're openly saying doesn't make sense. And Jon is right. Jon is right, in all fairness, on that. Nobody called for Surreal versus Jon Jones. Nobody. I like the Stipe idea. I don't know that Stipe can sit on his hands for another half a year. I don't know about that. Now, Curtis Blades is the biggest problem stylistically for Jon Jones. But I don't know that that's a good thing. I don't know that that's helpful. That if you had a choice between Jon as your champion or Curtis as your champion, I'm not sure that that's a helpful thing. Sergey Pavlich isn't going to get anything that Sergey Pavlich doesn't ask for. And the last time Sergey had a microphone in his hand, he informed the world that Daniel Cormier beat him up. So you're not dealing with a huge threat right there, but you're dealing with a threat of some degree. So quite possibly it will be Jon versus Surreal and then Jon versus Stipe. And the Stipe is very helpful for a couple of reasons. I mean, I don't know that Stipe can get that done. I don't know that he can wait. I mean, it's been Ngannou this entire time. It never had anything to do with Surreal. Ngannou's all of a sudden not even in the company, and Surreal's into the main event. So, I mean, I understand that things can change fast. I like the Stipe idea. I like it because now we know what Surreal and Jon are fighting for. And I would like it if Stipe was put in that position. You want to know a great fight? A really good fight is Stipe versus Surreal. So the reason I say I like Stipe, Jones, Stipe, that works for me, but Surreal, Stipe, that works for me. So I would like it if this was treated, if you will, like a semifinal. Somehow Stipe got a bye into the finals match, but now we're going to do Surreal versus Jon, and one of them draws into that. I personally would like that. That isn't how it's done very often around here. But I personally would think that that was clever. Okay, so you got Jon's manager saying he did an 8-fight deal. You got Jon saying, I'm going to be easy to work with for 2 fights. Then I'm going to have enough money. We'll see what makes sense. We don't need your opinion on what makes sense. I mean, just so you understand, we did it your way. Your way involved 3 years of sitting out. That's what your way involved. Now, Jon has done one thing that's very beautiful. And again, this comes from the narcissistic side. But the narcissist got this one. I thought it was beautiful. He said, I'm not going to tell you what I weigh. He said, I'm not going to tell anyone what I weigh. I want it to be a surprise for Surreal. I liked that. What do you guys think of that? Why would he tell us what he weighs? Why wouldn't he let that be a little bit of a guess? And there's not very many times that that's interesting, but it has been interesting. I mean, bring Stipe back in. Stipe's 248 pounds. First time he fights Daniel Cormier and gets beat. The next time he fights Daniel Cormier, he weighs in at 231 pounds. That was shocking. People were tearing their tickets up. It moved the line. Stipe has no chance. None. He's done. Well, it turned out it made his cardio a little better. Turned out it made him just a little bit quicker. Turned out when those championship rounds came around, he was moving and he was floating. He was a little bit harder to hold down. All right, Stipe ended up looking better. So the next time he goes in a fight down, he's 233 pounds. I mean, I'm just sharing for you, like, weight sometimes is interesting. Not very often, but it is sometimes. And when we've never seen Jon Jones at heavyweight, it does matter. Any way you want to do it, it matters. Jon told us he wants to be 240 pounds. We've seen him on Instagram at 242 pounds. That's interesting. Now, I don't personally know that I believe that Jon Jones can hold that weight and go through an appropriate training camp. Tough to do. But Jon let us know that 240 is psychologically what he needs. So let's say Jon gets on the scale and he's 228. 228 is a very realistic number. If you're 240, but then you go into training camp, 228 is a very realistic number. But we, the fans, could then derive something from that. We go, wait a minute. He himself says he needs to be 240. This is going to bother Jon. Jon did not make the weight that he wanted to weigh. We'd get something out of that for about 24 hours. There'd be some conversation there. Or what if it goes the other way? Jon wants to weigh 240. He showed us on Instagram he's 242. What if he gets in there at 250? Whoa! How'd he do that? How did he put on size while going through a training camp? It's a very, very difficult thing to do. And it would just be interesting. And what does that mean? And this whole Jon Jones Move Up program, the whole thing is conditional on one concept, which is Jon goes to a division of which he has a handicap, which is he's not as big as the opponent. So if Jon shows up at 250 and Surreal's at 249, I mean, all of a sudden things change. I just share for you. I know that this isn't groundbreaking. I know that this isn't Sports Center worthy news. But it's about all you're going to get. This is from the same guy whose manager says he's here for 8 fights, who told us he's going to do 2 fights. And they're all geriatrics, and we're going to start with one that doesn't even make sense. According to him, I mean, not for nothing, there's something on that. There is something interesting about him not telling us what he weighs. It will make me guess. It will make me speculate. I find it interesting. Only wants to do things that make sense. Let's stop with that. Okay? Let's stop asking the bartender for advice on quitting alcohol.